needs help.
Dagger's back.
You've got quite a crew on your side, Spider.
I needed that more than I'll admit.
A boom of light.
Lights out.
My time to shine. Alone. Friends, gather around. You belong to
Got a shield, Tandy.
You owe me one. My time to shine. Love to see the master weave us. You're halfway there. Keep going. Oh boy.
Tandy needs help.
That's the boost I needed.
One shots me?
Still here. Don't you put me out. Almost there. Don't turn back now.
Let the devil out! Together to victory!
That's the fighting strength.
Only 60 seconds left.
Oh boy.
Us against the world. Love to see the master weave.
Lights out. Got what you need. Let's hop back up under their noses.
My time to shine.
Lights out.
Down to 30 seconds. My time to shine.
Tandy needs help.
Thanks. Get that vehicle moving again. I am healed. I need final 10 seconds. Hold still. I'm trying to help. Friends, gather around.
Lights out. I become vulnerable. It's my
Guys,
Can't expect them all. You'll need a top-notch team to win this one. We are Cloak and Dagger. We are hope and fear. Tai, but they just don't know him. 30 seconds before you attack. Get ready.
Oh, good. The perfect humans here to make me feel inadequate. You were already doing that before I arrived. Ouch. Got me. Perhaps a good fight will improve your self-image.
The battle starts in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. You have to stop them from securing the mission area.
Saying that these beings have not yet evolved beyond such petty squabbles.
Tandy needs help.
Well, look who's up to no that woke me up. I'll get you next time. My time to shine. I'm easy pickings.
I ain't afraid.
My time to shine. Double KO. You need to stop that vehicle in its tracks. Get ready, Sparrow. Here come the bad guys.
Running out of my fucking heal, you fucking idiot. Fuck.
Got to back you up.
Much to prove. Better stop
Yeah.
that vehicle. They've made it halfway. Stop them. Thanks for the love, love.
Lights out.
Still, I'm trying to help.
Dinner time, love! Hey, you got dealt a bad hand, Gambit.
Gambit never falls!
Go out, bitch. There's still a chance to stop them. Us against the world.
Tandy needs help.
My time to shine. I take everything. I take all. Double KO. They hit a checkpoint. Now might be a good time to stop them. Better stop that vehicle. Time to shine.
Oh, whip the hell!
I'm trying to help.
Needed that, thanks.
Lights out.
Watch me soar. My time to shine.
Wait, that hit the spot.
气贯长虹。 Lights out.
My time to shine. Hold still. I'm trying to help.
Leave them to Khonshu!
A bone of light. time to shine.
You're mine.
Better stop that vehicle! It's now or never! Stop them! So cold.
Back up under the nose.
The god of
Busted world.
Watch out. Thanks. You fight me, you fight the Dark Force too.
My time to shine.
You're mine.
Lights out. It's much better.
Double KO! Don't give them another inch! Or else.
Take everything!
Let's go!
That's the stuff. Lights out.
Stop them in their tracks!
Watch your back.
I'm back to shed some light.
Lights out.
My time to shine. Let's go!
That hit the spot.
Add that to my greatest. That's the stuff.
Glad to help. I feel like I'm being watched. You stop them in their tracks.
Let the devil out! It never falls!
Double KO! Three! Wow, 4 in a row!
Found me someone to
Better stop that vehicle!
Jesus.
Well, you can't expect to win them all. You'll need a top-notch team to win this one.
Make way for the king of teams. Don't you worry, Mr. B. Gambit got more than one ace up his sleeve. Lucky draw!
30 seconds before you attack. Get ready.
Unlucky for you.
A strange alliance. We should be at odds, you and I.
Why do you say that, man of gold?
I seek to save souls. You seek to collect them.
But if they all cease to exist, we would both be out of business.
The battle starts in 5, 4, 3, 2,
R1's
1.
damaging, L1's healing.
All you need to do is capture the mission area. Got it?
Wait, that hit the spot.
There are threats ahead even greater than what the dooms have unleashed.
Just in time. Thanks.
I am barely harmed.
Anyone willing to help?
Power beyond sight! Good
Double
medicine.
KO.
You thought you got rid of me? Pas de chance. Ionic magic! Ooh-wee! That hit the spot.
Healing. Why would I need healing?
And I'll
Hit real hard. Now you do the same for me, Wee.
I feel better already.
You'll want to protect your rear.
Lucky draw! Just the boost I need. Ain't ready for Rogue to be a widow. Not yet. No mercy. Again! Someone's messing with my head. Got me good. Gambit got your back.
one more for the soul sword.
Help get that vehicle to its destination.
Unlucky for you. Double down.
Enemy ahead of us.
Just the boost I need. Never fall!
Double KO.
Back for more. hit the spot.
You're halfway there. Keep going.
Much better.
You'll want to protect your rear.
My friends are here!
Did that hurt?
Ain't ready for Rogue to be a widow. Not yet.
Stand down! Perfect hit! Again!
I am barely harmed. Your own dimension is strange.
Almost there. Don't turn back now.
I trust you to deliver this secret tablet, Bishi.
Shield! Merci!
The vehicle reached a checkpoint. Keep up the momentum.
Good.
Bionic magic!
Disappear!
You. Gambit got your back. Shola wants
By
this
the
old tablet.
eye of Agamotto!
An unseen.
Target neutralized.
Ah, bomb. An extra layer of armor. Stay hitting real hard.
That's it! Don't let anything stand in your way.
I am barely harmed. Anyone willing to help? Watch me.
Double
You
KO!
got rid of me? Pas de chance.
Just in time. Thanks.
For my crows!
Gambit never falls!
I rise, they fall.
But who wants to come with Gambit to wake up the sleeping
A
dragon?
trice, a tryst.
Now, King of Hearts!
Endless battle
only pay Scribe makes step-by-step guides for any process with AI. You know what's terrifying at work? When you start a new job and there's no training, none of the processes are documented, and you're completely on your own. Show you the best capture. It's called Scribe. Go to scribehow.com, click Capture, do the task once, and Scribe will create a step-by-step guide you can share automatically. Scribe instantly turns any workflow into a step-by-step guide, so you never have to explain it again. Go to scribehow.com. You don't even need a credit card.
It's R1, L1.
Gambit is the newest strategist in Marvel Rivals. And fellas, let me tell you, he is an absolute beast once you get him right. My name is Paz, an Eternity player on the competitive ladder, and I'm going to tell you all of the things you need to know in order to pop off and carry your ranked games as Gambit. Before we get started with his abilities, understand that the way you carry on Gambit is by getting active early on in the fights to set up before the fight happens so that you can build as much ultimate charge as possible. If you are consistently out-farming the enemy supports, you are doing so much for your team, especially the higher in rank you go, as you're always going to have your ult before they do. The way you out-farm the enemy team isn't by just healing your team or cleansing them. It must also include weaving in impactful damage and possibly even finding picks throughout the fight to relieve pressure from your team. If you think the playstyle sounds an awful lot like Luna Snow, honestly, you aren't all that wrong. But the way that
totally changed. I don't know, whatever.
This is almost as fun as pulling a heist.
That Gambit will
Almost.
outfarm is by getting a little bit
Ooh, found me
closer to the
someone to
team,
fight.
where Luna can kind of just sit back, relax, and just clap her way to victory. The different utility that Gambit provides is useful and separates him from the rest of the support roster. But at his core, he is still a strategist, so farming ult as fast as possible trumps all else. With this in mind, let's get into Gambit's kit. Starting with his primary fire, we have his kinetic cards that both heal allies and deal damage to enemies. The cards fire in sets of 3 that fan further out from each other the farther they travel through the air before they disintegrate.
Whoa.
What's that?
I just built a budgeting app in Base 44.
Guys, I just built an app.
You was out of your league.
Code? Interesting. Can you generate reports?
Can now.
So you're saying we can all build apps now?
Yeah.
I'm on lunch. I gotta make more.
I'll be in my
office. Just built an inventory tracker. Protein calculator.
A workflow manager that
Tracks who still owes for the group lunch.
Trash duty schedule.
Since no one seems to
Found me someone to fight.
I just created a goal tracking system.
We built the same thing, didn't we?
Yep.
Can this thing manage contact?
I want to animate this graphic.
Party planner.
Profesor de español.
An inter-office dating app. For dogs. For office dogs.
Gambit enjoyed that a little too much.
After traveling 60 meters, you can fire 7 bursts before having to reload as well. Each card deals 20 damage or 28 healing depending on if an enemy or friend is hit. So, full burst deals
got me good.
either 60 damage or 84 healing. With the team up anchor bonus that boosts healing by 5%, you heal for 88 per burst instead. And this 5% bonus actually does apply to everything else we talk about in the guide, but we're using just the base version just so that in the future, if his team up gets removed, we're not gonna just have like misinformation here. You cannot deal headshot damage to enemies though, so you are locked at 60 damage per burst unless you damage boost yourself with the damage deck, which we'll talk about later. You can fire a bit more than 2 bursts per second
found me
too,
someone
which
to
allows
fight.
you to keep up with your team's health bars rather consistently too. In terms of speed, the cards fly just as fast as the primary fires of Namor, Moon Knight, Storm at 150 meters per second.
Oh,
So if you're used to those
wonderful.
characters, aiming really shouldn't be a problem.
kill!
And to be honest, because they fire in these like weird 3 burst things, it's really hard to miss your shots on this character. Because the cards are projectiles too, they don't actually suffer from fall off damage either. You will do less damage from range though. This is because the further the cards fly through the air, the more they're going to split from each other. I find that 15 to 20 meters away from your targets is the sweet spot though, that the dispersion will not impact your shots while still keeping yourself relatively safe. Now that we understand how the cards work, how should we actually be going about using them? While healing your team is essential to win the game, you shouldn't just sit in the back of your team and heal the whole game. Instead, you should also be looking to do damage in between fights as well as early on in the fight to pressure the enemy team. This will net you tons of ult charge and sometimes even net you a pick. The best way to do this is to set up on soft off angles
who
by
Gambit was
yourself
looking for.
or to take a more aggressive angle if you have a DPS to play with. Then you can poke with your damage from the side where there isn't really going to be any shields blocking you in the front line or any like Groot walls blocking you. Then you just have to make sure that you are angling in a spot where you can dash back to your team to help them with the utility of your cards if the fight ends up needing that to happen. Also, Gambit is insanely good at marking DPS like Psylocke and Iron Fist, so don't be afraid to duel them before they get into your team and then rotate back to your team after. You shouldn't really die to these characters either since you have so much self-healing and cooldowns to let you escape. The only character that you kind of struggle with in the 1v1 duel, in my opinion, is Daredevil because he is just absolutely insane right now. So just be careful with him. And yes, just like Luna Snow, if you are close enough and can break deployables like Onks, clones, turrets, you get the vibe here, you definitely should focus on breaking them. This opens up time and resources for the rest of your team, and they might not say it, but they are grateful for it. Overall, Overall, Gambit has a really strong primary fire that is insanely good depending on
Just who
how
Gambit
you
was
use the
looking
rest
for.
of his kit. You can heal a ton, deal a ton of damage. He just kind of has it all here. Do whatever you can though to farm your ult and you will consistently carry fights, I guarantee it. Moving on from Gambit's primary fire, we have his movement ability, Cajun Charge. Gambit dashes forward 8 meters with 2 charges of the dash, each having a cooldown time of 12.5 seconds. It is very important to note that the dash functions like a
Gambit
take
enjoyed
on
that.
the Psylocke
Damn
dash
that to
and
you.
not like a Captain America or Magic Dash, for example. What I mean by this is that you do not actually stop your movement when you dash into someone. Instead, you go right through them. This also means that you can dash at the ground to halt your movement so you don't go flying through the enemy team, which could be important later if
You
you're on
know
like
you had
controller,
that
for
coming.
example. The dash also does no damage or healing unless you combine it with the next ability we're going to talk about, the Bayou Bash. Gambit slams the ground, dealing 60 damage to enemies and healing allies for 60 health in a 5-meter spherical radius around him. Gambit counts as an ally as well, meaning you can heal yourself by slamming the ground. It's
Just who
super
Gambit
handy.
was
You also
looking
get 2 charges of the slam, with each one having an 8-second cooldown currently, which practically makes you a raid boss in absolute guys. How you use the Bayou Bash depends on the matchup, to be completely honest though.
You
If
know
are against
you had that
super
coming.
strong flank-centric heroes like Daredevil, Psylocke. In America, you kind of get the vibe here. It is often better for you to hold on to the bash to peel for yourself or a friendly support while dealing damage at the same time. If you are playing that dive comp though, dueling with bash makes finding picks very consistent. It's kind of filthy. Now, on the flip side, if you are playing against a composition with a super strong core like Magneto, Thing, or other brawlers, you can get away with using the bash a lot more aggressively with your team when combined with his dash, which we'll get into now. This isn't all with the slam though. You can also use it while you are mid-dash to trigger big, easy impact, which essentially allows you to swing around with the bow staff, giving your dash damaging and healing capabilities. When the abilities are combined, Gambit dashes 12 meters instead of just the normal 8 meters and deals 3 instances of 25 healing to allies or 25
found me
damage to
someone to
enemies
fight.
that are 5 meters around Gambit during the dash. Just like for the normal bash, the healing in dash also applies to Gambit. It also is important to note that this empowered dash uses 1 charge from each ability, giving you a bash to slam on the ground once you get to your destination. Unlike the normal
Gambit
dash
enjoyed
2,
that
you
a
can
little
actually
too much.
control your movement while you are dashing in this empowered dash form, and swing around while you are moving too, which is different than the Psylocke dash we compared it to earlier. This means you don't actually have to aim at the ground, and it is better to do a U-turn while you are mid-empowered dash, so you can consistently hit the entire damage combo the ability provides. Now, if you're on controller, I could see maybe just aiming at the target speed is better, but if you have a high enough sensitivity, you can still do it. It's honestly pretty easy to pull off. It makes duels so much easier to work with, since you are dealing 75 damage while also healing yourself for 75 damage. This is especially true in duels where you have your damage deck active as well, where you're going to be doing even more damage. The dash isn't just used for damage though. It can also be used to help your team sustain depending on the game. You can either heal your team on the way in or the way out, or just close the distance on an enemy to finish them off with a slam after. For example, you could set up in a fight to force out a duelist from the high ground and then healing dash back to your team when they need the healing, making up for all that lost time that you weren't healing your team during the duel. This allows you to not only possibly find a pick, but also alleviate pressure while keeping your team healthy. The same goes for the other way around. If your team is taking tempo back in the fight and looking to get aggressive, when someone gets low in the front line, you can just empower dash in through your team and slam the ground, finishing them off and taking the fight from there. You'll come to find that Gambit has a lot of different answers to every single situation in the game, and the skill comes from locating when you have a tool for the right job and using it at the right time. It's what makes him so fun, but also what makes him so dang difficult. Now, speaking of difficult, guys, buckle up, ladies and gentlemen, because it is time to talk about all of Gambit's card abilities, starting with his Healing Hearts deck. To keep things very simple, we are going to refer to the initial abilities as decks and the unlocked abilities from those decks as cards, again, just to keep things very uniform, simple, easier to understand. First, let's start talking about how the resource meter below
Just
your
who
crosshair
Gambit
works.
looking for. found me someone to fight. You best check this out. Ready's ready to roulette. We should go now, no? Hear me up, eh? Things about to go down here. Ooh, found me someone to fight. You know you had that coming.
Double KO!
Ooh, found me someone to fight. Just who Gambit was looking for. Ooh, found me someone to fight. found me someone to fight. Ooh, found me someone to fight.
He's in.
Just who Gambit was looking for. Just who Gambit was looking for. Oh, Keldoma.
Double KO! That's 3!
Got me good. Just who Gambit was looking for. Ooh, found me someone to fight.
I did.
Ooh, found me someone to fight. Ooh, found me someone to fight. Ooh, found me someone to fight. Ooh, found me someone to fight.
Kim.
Ooh, found me someone to fight.
Okay. Yeah, that's perfect. Okay. Alright, see you soon.
Ooh, found me someone to fight. You was out of your league. Shuffle up.
Double KO! That's 3!
A helping hand.
Wow, 4 in a row!
Ooh, found me someone to fight. Maybe cards just ain't your game. Shuffle up. A deadly deal.
Double KO! That's 3!
Found me someone to fight.
Wow, 4 in a row! 5! That's amazing!
You was out of your league.
In general, Gambit gets 4 resources at a time that are shared between his Healing Hearts and Breaking Spades decks and card abilities. Each charge has an 8-second cooldown. A charge is consumed again every single time you pull out a deck, as well as every single time you use a card from that deck. Furthermore, each time you pull out a deck, you have 6 seconds before you return back to your normal state, or you use a card from that deck. Earlier, it'll cancel out that initial deck, buff. Because of this, the only way to leave a deck early is to use a card, which burns 2 resources in total. So anticipate what kind of card you are going to need for the situation before it happens to conserve resources. If you get caught with your pants down, not only do you have to use all of your resources, you also might be late
Just
to
who
save your
Gamble
team if you
looking
need to
for.
cleanse them from a specific ultimate. When activating Healing Hearts or the Healing deck, Gambit regenerates 20 health per second for 6 seconds. This is all he gets from the healing deck, by the way. He does not get a healing boost to all of his outgoing healing, which is a huge misconception people have been running into. All he gets is self-regen, so sitting in this form isn't really that great unless you're getting dove by an enemy flanker and could use the extra regen. Even then, I think damage is just better in general, but we're gonna get there in a minute. While the healing deck is active, Gambit gets access to 2 different cards, Bridge Boost and Purifying Pickup. Bridge Boost fires a tracking healing projectile that bounces between allies 6 times, healing for 50 HP per bounce. Now, the website thread on Gambit doesn't actually have any notes on how far the bounce, but within our testing, it seems like the allies can be a maximum of 15 meters away from each other before the bounce just can't hit them if they're even further away from each other. Healing isn't all this ability can do though. Every target hit with the card also gets 15% more boosted healing from all sources for 4 seconds. So typically this ability is used either when a specific target is in need of a lot of burst healing or when a player on the team is getting active in an ultimate. For example, if you have a Punisher or a Star-Lord on your team and they press their ultimate, since the entire lobby is very likely going to try to take them down, it is very helpful for you to just throw a healing card their way and keep them up as they are making their play. In other words, this is the enabler card. Finally, if the person you are trying to heal is out of your line of sight, you can bounce the card off of a floor to heal them around a corner so long as they are close enough to the bounce on the ground. It's actually very handy. The other healing card option you have from the healing deck is Purifying Pickup. This card allows Gambit to throw out a cluster of 10 cards in front of him that fly until they impact a friendly, the environment, or travel 15 meters where they will then explode, healing for 70 points of health per explosion. Now this doesn't mean that you can heal your team for 700 health every time you throw the explosion. This is because for teammates, they can actually only take 2 of these explosions for 140 health, and Gambit can only take 1 explosion for 70 health. This isn't all though. Each explosion also purifies your teammates, which wipes away any crowd control or negative condition that ails them. This cleanses away Bucky ults, anti-heal, Strange ult, Groot ult, Angela pulls, Angela ultimates, Wolverine grabs, everything that messes up your teammates in the game. And it's also important to note that this cleansing effect is not exactly like Kiriko's Suzu from Overwatch. Instead of a status where the target is immortal for a second, it is a one-time instant purify the moment that it hits. Because of this, you cannot preemptively hit the purify on targets. So for characters like Strange, to counter his ult, anticipate that it is coming, hide while you pop your healing deck, and then emerge with your cleanse and healing dash through the team to keep them alive. I cannot stress enough how important it is that you are ready with the healing deck the moment you know that they have an ultimate that you can cleanse. Honestly, even tunnel visioning that ult cleanse the higher you go is okay, because it is way more predictable that the enemy team is going to rip their ults correctly too. Canceling ults like this just wins you games. I'm gonna be completely honest with you guys. Now that we know how both of the cards work, when should you use the abilities? First, the healing deck ability is honestly very lackluster. Most of the time, if I use the healing deck, I am anticipating that I'm going to need to use a card very soon. Then the cards are pretty situational. Bridge Boost, which is the bouncing card, is really nice if you're further away from your team and when your teammates are about half and they're about to get active as well. This way, you can get the full value out of the card and can utilize the healing boost that comes after to charge your ultimate even faster. Purifying Pickup is obviously very good for cleansing friendlies, but is also good for just, oh shit, I need to heal my entire team on nearby targets, since it's an instant 140 HP, which is comparable to an Atom Snap. But the situation has to be when your team is literally in your face or they need cleansed. Moving on from the healing deck, we now have Gambit's damage deck, Breaking Spades. Upon pulling out this deck, Gambit gets a 15% personal damage buff on all of his attacks for 6 seconds or until he uses a card. You are essentially charging your ultimate 15% faster for 6 seconds. So yes, this just normal deck is a lot stronger in my opinion. Because of this, you should almost always be ripping your damage deck in between fights or very early on in fights to farm your ult while your team doesn't really need help or to be safe. After all, you can find an elimination on the enemy who are mitigating all of the damage that they would have done had they been left standing, making the fight a lot easier to play. Let's move into the cards, starting with Explosive Trick, where Gambit throws a single explosive card projectile in a straight line, dealing 70 damage to all enemies hit in a 5-meter radius around its impact. Upon hit, the explosion also inflicts a 25% anti-heal effect on enemies for 4 seconds, which is nice and can set up some crazy kills in organized play. However, in Ranked, sometimes I could see where it's maybe not worth going for. In Ranked, if you think your team is going to try and kill through a support ult, for example, like Invisible Woman or Mantis ult, hitting the anti makes it a lot easier for them to find the pick. Again though, it does require your team to kind of like know that that pick is possible and actually be willing to shoot them. Typically in Ranked, this card is used though as a finishing tool to take out targets instead of an engagement tool. If your team is locked in though, and you have combos like Groot ults, like Angela ult, where the teams are forced to stand still, I just think no matter what rank you are in, you know, hitting that anti is encouraged, as you can just finish whatever the characters are that are in there and just kill them through the support ult. The main idea of engaging with this card is that you have to feel very confident that you are engaging and are actually going to lead this to a kill. Kind of like leading with a damage orb with Moira in Overwatch. The other card in the damage deck is Bidding Barrage, which also deals 70 damage, but instead throws a barrage of cards, just like the healing version that launches enemies up in the air. This is probably the least used card, as it is the most niche characters are that are in there.
Shuffle up. Gambit enjoyed that a little too
Double
much.
kill! That's 3! Wow, 4 in a row! 5! That's amazing!
Heals me when I'm holding it.
Just who Gambit was looking for.
And just kill them through the support ult. The main idea of engaging with this card is that you have to feel very confident that you are engaging and are actually going to lead this to a kill. Kind of like leading with a damage orb with Moira in Overwatch. The other card in the damage deck is Bidding Barrage, which also deals 70 damage, but instead throws a barrage of cards, just like the healing version that launches enemies up in the air. This is probably the least used card, as it is the most niche card out of all of the different cards we've talked about so far, but it does mess up specific characters very nicely. For example, whenever an Angela or Wolverine look to pull one of your teammates, you can just launch these cards at them to cancel their movement and pick them off afterwards. You can also use this card to cancel out Hulk jumps, to, cancel out Venom swings. There's a lot of characters that do get messed up by this ability. The same goes for messing up maybe like Black Panther on his way in, which is really nice because, just CCing him makes it so that he can't really dash you anymore. Very situational, but, very strong and powerful here. There is a combo you can do with the damage deck where you start by pulling out your damage deck for that extra 15% damage boost, shoot once, empowered dash at your target, shoot again, and then anti-card them, or you could also knockback card them, but the anti is a little bit more consistent if they got healed, throughout your combo. This will take out pretty much any squishy target in the game. It only costs you 2 cards for a pick, so I definitely think this is worth learning and getting used to. Overall, if you just have the basic understanding of what each of these cards is used for, you're probably going to get a lot more target, shoot again.
Damage deck, shoot, dash, shoot.
Maybe cards just ain't your game. Oh, you had that coming. Ha-ha! A bust!
Shoot.
Unlucky for you. Just who Gambit was looking for. You was out. Might want to fold.
Double kill!
Damage deck, shoot, dash, shoot, anti-card.
Unlucky for you.
Man, we can fucking up with that.
Oh, quel dommage. I want to fold.
Double kill!
Ooh, found me someone to fight. Unlucky for you. Oh, quel dommage.
Double kill!
I want to fold.
That's 3!
You was out of your league. that coming. Just to shuffle up. Maybe cars just ain't okay. Unlucky for you. I want to fold. You know you had that coming.
Double KO! That's 3! Wow, 4 in a row!
Just unlucky for you.
Double KO!
Oh, quel dommage.
That's 3!
I want to fold.
Wow, 4 in a row! 5! That's amazing!
Gavin enjoyed that a little too much. Shuffle up.
6 in a row! Way to go! Unbelievable!
Ha-ha! A bust! You know you had that coming. Unlucky for you. Ha-ha! A bust! A deadly deal! Shuffle up. Ooh, found me someone to fight. A deadly deal!
Knock a flyer like that, yeah?
Double down! I want to fold. King of hearts!
Damage deck.
Maybe cars just ain't your game. A deadly deal! Ha-ha! A bust! Ooh, spicy!
Good, huh?
Just who Gambit was looking for. Ha-ha! A bust! Gambit enjoyed that a little too much.
Double KO!
A deadly deal! Shuffle up. You was out of your
Double
league.
KO!
Remily boom! Double down! A deadly deal! A helping hand! Ooh, found me someone to fight. A helping hand!
And then anti-card them, or you could also knockback card them, but the anti is a little bit more consistent if they got healed, throughout your combo. This will take out pretty much any squishy target in the game. It only costs you 2 cards for a pick, so I definitely think this is worth learning and getting used to. Overall, if you just have the basic understanding of what each of these cards is used for, you're probably going to get a lot more use out of just your entire kit on Gambit in the game. We have finally made it, though, to arguably one of the strongest ultimates in the game, and in my opinion,
Ooh, found me someone to fight. Just who Gambit was looking for.
Just kinda always.
Ooh, found me someone to fight.
If not the strongest ultimate in the game, Raijin Royal Flush. Upon pressing the ult, Gambit gets a prompt to activate the ultimate, targeting any friendlies in a 40-meter long tonal spell field in front of him upon activation. Any allies in this spell field, including Gambit himself, will immediately be purified, be healed for 100 health, and gain access to an enhanced jump. Allies will also then move 50% faster, heal for 75 health per second, as well as charge their ultimates 30% faster standalone. So damaging enemies during this ultimate as a friendly player will actually charge your ult about 50% faster due to the damage boost, or close enough to it that we're going to talk about too. I just don't want to get too deep in the math weeds here. It's probably about 50% that you're charging this faster. Not to mention that these effects also last for 10 seconds, which is just as long as a Luna ultimate, which is absolutely insane. On top of this, friendlies will also gain access to all of their abilities, triggering a kinetic...
Oh, well, what's up, dude? I'll say it for you. It's me, just at home. Fuck, are you on your way to work? Oh, that's okay. Oh no.
Ooh, found me
Why?
someone to fight.
Well, that's probably why.
Gambit enjoyed that a little too much.
What, dude? No. Now I'm getting into Marvel Rivals over here. Fucking, my controller settings. I like have per character controller settings. I was like, man, my sense is so slow.
You was out of your league.
Yeah. I'm trying to get good at Gambit. This motherfucker
Got me good.
is like intricate, but fucking he's really good. I just watched him play it. This shit's crazy. This shit is fucking nuts, actually. I was like, once I kind of understood all the abilities, and I'm like, still don't even understand them all the way. I'm like, holy shit, this guy.
Just who Gambit we're looking for.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, a damage combo that you can just one-shot fucking.
Maybe cars just ain't your game.
Wow, and you just kill him. What's up, bitch? Yeah, his ult is apparently like really fucking nuts. I wasn't using it right. But I was kind of playing in my cloak, but you wanna like fucking.
You know you had that coming.
Dude, I've fucking been trying. It fucking takes forever to get there, dude. Yeah, I mean, I've been fucking. I'm still level 10. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, that's what I did. I just made one. I just found a guy that had like a write-up, and he had like fucking everything for every character. He's like, this is what I think's best.
Pick your hero or villain. I'm not judging.
Now, and then if I don't like it, I'll
Make way for the king of teams.
But I just did one for Thor, Cloak, and Gambit. Dude, fucking Gambit has fucking. You can cleanse, like, just straight up with your fucking regular abilities and your ult cleanses too. So you can just pull people out of Jeff ult. You can fucking. If Doctor Strange ults, you can just fucking. I can just throw a card at the ground and pull everyone out of it. Bloop. I have to be like on top of you and hit you with it, but yeah, you can just purify. Yeah.
We share a long way from the Big East.
30 seconds before you attack. Get ready.
Yeah, and he has like an anti-heal, and he has like a. So his, one of his cards like puts like a 50% anti-heal on him. Puts like a 50%
I teamed up with a guy
heal
just
buff
like you not
on
so long
whoever
ago.
I hit.
Sweet
And
cake,
I don't know.
fancy gadgets.
Got a lot of shit.
Long 20 years. Huh. Sounds like a cheap knockoff to me.
The battle starts in 5, 4,
Yeah,
3,
it was his healer.
1. All you need to do is capture the mission area. Got it?
Here I thought the Second World War was a nightmare.
Yeah,
Ah,
it's,
bomb.
I
An
think
extra
so.
layer of armor.
I'm counting on you.
Just who Gambit we're looking for. Real hard, that healing just maybe cars just ain't your game.
Looks like the mission area is well as capacity now. The mission area is yours.
Not really, no. I only played a little bit when it first started. I bet. Does everyone get to ban one person, or does it like on your team chooses who to ban?
Shield. Merci. Jump up.
Yeah, that's kind of fucking lame. I think it'd be pretty different. Like,
And nobody's stealing Gambit's chance to win.
yeah, it's actually gonna go fucking into work. On your only day off.
Double dash. Just the boost I need.
Man. Yeah, I definitely respect it. I was like, yeah, I have it
Ain't
down.
ready
I
to
was in the
rogue
practice
to be a
tool.
widow.
Now I'm
Not
playing. I'm
yet.
like, shit. Yeah.
Lucky draw. I feel like myself again.
Executioner! For mutant kind!
Control lost.
I looked at. Oh yeah, I watched that cinematic release set. Yeah, that shit's crazy. That game looks like it's gonna be sick. Yeah, that shit's crazy.
Powering up.
Ooh, wait! That hit the spot. A helping hand.
The area's almost yours.
Gambit got your back. Hey, hitting real hard.
No skill shot!
I'll take this. Merci
This
beaucoup.
motherfucker's crazy. It's like I get it this son of a bitch.
Control lost.
I'm already like after that video, like
Unlucky. Found me some of the fight.
Leave them!
You'll have to keep fighting until we have a winner.
Ball. An extra layer of armor.
that's so much fun. When are you gonna get home? I might be able to play, but
This is almost as fun as pulling a heist. Almost.
oh really? I don't know. I'm fucking hooked on this.
30 seconds before you attack. Get ready.
You truly believe that you're safe inside a metal shell? How naive.
Spider's plating is made from carbon nanofibers and ceramics. It's magneto-proof.
If there is even a trace of metal in that machine's frame, I
Yeah,
can
you
find
did.
it.
Yeah, it
The
sounds
battle
so
starts in 5, 4,
so sick.
3, 2, 1. All you need to do is capture the mission area. Got it?
An extra layer of armor. Gotta make the Thieves Guild proud. And that no easy trick.
Hell yeah.
Systems restoring.
Executioner!
Looks like the mission area is yours to capture now. They captured the mission area!
No skill shot! By the eye of Agamotto!
Now I can.
Ain't nobody stealing Gambit's chance to win.
On your toes. Here they come. For mutant kind! Needed that, thanks.
Their team's capture progress has passed the halfway point. Double KO!
Ain't nobody stealing Gambit's chance to win.
Kinetic blade.
Unlucky.
blast on enemies 2 times a second. The blast does 20% of the damage that they dealt to the target. Mention that these effects also last for 10 seconds, which is just as long as a Luna ultimate, which is absolutely insane. On top of this, friendlies will also gain access to all of their abilities, triggering a kinetic blast on enemies 2 times a second. The blast does 20% of the damage that they dealt to the target, which is absolutely insane. At the very end of the ultimate 2, the card that they dealt to the target, which is just as long as a Luna ultimate, which is absolutely insane. On top of this, friendlies will also gain access to all of their abilities, triggering a kinetic blast on enemies 2 times a second. The blast does 20% of the damage that they dealt to the target, which is absolutely insane. At the very end of the Ultimate 2, the cards around each character are going to explode, dealing 65 damage to any enemies that might be around them. To sum this section up, Gambit's ultimate pretty much just makes your team Thanos. There's nothing the enemy can do about it. So how should you use this ultimate? To be honest, there are 2 main ways to use the ultimate: to engage and the ultimate Uno reverse card ultimate, as I like to call it. Ideally, you charge your ultimate so fast on Gambit that you have it before the rest of your team. Then you can just rip the ultimate when you're on top of the enemy team, as it will be impossible for them to run away from you without matching it with a support ult of their own, and then they kind of just die. Typically, the team that Gambit ults second will lose too, as the first team already overwhelmed the enemy and found a pick first, winning the fight. The only issue is that you really want to make sure that when you pop this Gambit ult, your team is already ready to go, and you're just eliminating all that time that they need to walk from point A to point B, B being the enemy team. The other option is to use the ultimate as an Uno reverse ultimate, typically in ranked if you're against like a big Vanguard or Duelist ultimate, not when you're trying to match the Gambit ults. Oh, the enemies thought that they were going to be able to just, strange ult my entire team, Gambit ult from behind the wall, since, it goes through walls too. And yeah, you're dead. Enemies are pushing my crit tank in the front line with a DPS ult, Gambit ult. Bam. My turn now, I can just kill the entire enemy team. You could also just engage with the ultimate if you were up in the fight, and it is a very important fight to win. For example, if you know that the enemy is about to get their Luna ult online, but she just doesn't quite have it yet, you can use your Gambit ultimate to dive onto her before she gets it and win the fight right then and there. How should you play in the ultimate though? Do you have enough healing to just kind of go all in with damage, or does the ult not really heal enough? Honestly, it really depends on the situation. Ideally, you farm your Gambit ult faster than the rest of your team, like we said earlier, and then when you engage with the ult, you're just giving your friendly support all that time to heal your team and get their ult insanely fast. This also allows you to start farming your next ultimate with the other supports get you out of. When you use the ultimate in this way, your other support pretty much just has their ultimate then, and then you can just, focus on farming damage and getting your next ult right then and there. If you mess up and you are lagging behind your other support, you can always just wait to use your ult to be the second support ult in these really big team fights, but again, that's not really the ideal situation here. No matter what though, you should try to approach the fight with your ult from the back of your team to hit as many players as possible, and then look to walk in with your damage deck and find picks where you can. I'm telling you guys, the moment you press this ultimate, you need to get active and start killing the enemy team. Now that we understand how to play Gambit, what exactly counters this guy? Burst damage is Gambit's biggest weakness. Think characters like Helena Moore and Daredevil that can take Gambit out before he is able to sustain himself with his dashes and slam. Every other character gives him too much time to heal himself and win the duel. Honestly, if you ban Daredevil and you ban Hela, you're gonna cook in pretty much every single ranked game that you play. Now, I know this counter section is pretty short compared to literally every other guide we've had, but that's the problem with Gambit right now. Unless you pretty much one-shot him, he's gonna cook your entire team. The biggest counter to Gambit is either banning him or just the player being really bad at Gambit. As for what Gambit is good with, he kind of plays well with everything. The obligatory shout-out does have to go to Magneto, since he has an absolutely insanely strong team up with Gambit that boosts his damage with throwable swords. 2 swords and a mag cannon is enough to literally eliminate any 275 HP targets. It's kind of insane. Mag players, you're eating good this season. Well, actually, you've been eating good every single season because he hasn't stopped being meta since the game came out. So that's something cool to know. Instead of talking about characters though, Gambit functions the best when his team wants to get aggressive and brawl with big health bars from front to back and just, pretty much just decimate the entire team right then and there. That being said, he also doesn't mind when his team wants to get active and dive the enemy backline altogether with characters like Captain Venom 2, since he's so mobile and self-sufficient. So, running with like a Psylocke on an off angle with Gambit is extremely impressive and can carry games standalone. In terms of supports, and the VODs will look at this, but he can be played in both 2 support comps as well as 3 support comps. In 2 supports, he plays to heal the team a little bit more, but with 3 supports, he can fully utilize his damage and mobility to keep the team healthy while also posing a serious threat to the enemy backline. How to play Gambit from game to game comes down to what you have and what the enemies have, and enabling your team while countering theirs. His flexibility is insane, and why this character is so strong. Now that we understand Gambit and his kits, as well as where he is applicable, let's take a look at a couple of VODs to get an even better understanding of his kits. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to be watching a very strong VOD today. A lot of different VODs. We actually might do more than 3 this time. Usually we only do 3, but we've got a lot to look at. for just Gambit in general. So we're going to be looking at two different versions of Gambit. One version of Gambit is like the Scrim Gambit, where we're going to be seeing a triple tank, triple support composition that I've seen from Nemesis here. I don't know who Forky Dog is. It's one of their supports, I'm assuming, on an alt account. And we're also going to look at then a ranked version of the... All right, ladies and gentlemen, your character is so strong. Serious threat to the enemy backline. How to though, Gambit functions the best when his team wants to get aggressive and being really bad at Gambit. As for what Gambit pretty much one-shot him, lock in with your damage deck and find picks where you can. I'm telling you guys, you use the ultimate in this way, your other support pretty much just has their ultimate then, and then you can just, you know, focus on farming damage and getting your next ult right then and there. If you mess up and you are lagging behind your other support, you can always just wait to use your ult to be the second support ult in these really big team fights. But again, that's not really the ideal situation here. No matter what though, you should try to approach the fight with your ult from the back of your team to hit as many players as possible, and then look to walk in with your damage deck and find picks where you can. I'm telling you guys, the moment you press this ultimate, you need to get active and start killing the enemy team. Now that we understand how to play Gambit, you know, what exactly counters this guy? Burst damage is Gambit's biggest weakness. Think characters like Helena Moore and Daredevil that can take Gambit out before he is able to sustain himself with his dashes and slam. Every other character gives him too much time to heal himself and win the duel. Honestly, if you ban Daredevil and you ban Hela, you're gonna cook in pretty much every single ranked game that you play. Now, I know this counter section is pretty short compared to literally every other guide we've had, but that's the problem with Gambit right now. Unless you pretty much one-shot him, he's gonna cook your entire team. The biggest counter to Gambit is either banning him or just the player being really bad at Gambit. As for what Gambit is good with, he kind of plays well with everything. The obligatory shout out does have to go to Magneto, since he has an absolutely insanely strong team up with Gambit that boosts his damage with throwable swords. 2 swords and a mag cannon is enough to literally eliminate any 275 HP targets. It's kind of insane. Mag players, you're eating good this season. Well, actually, you've been eating good every single season because he hasn't stopped being meta since the game came out. So that's something cool to know. Instead of talking about characters though, Gambit functions the best when his team wants to get aggressive and brawl with big health bars from front to back and just, you know, pretty much just decimate the entire team right then and there. That being said, he also doesn't mind when his team wants to get active.
Gambit never falls! Remy LeBou! My waterfall!
Did you know that Gambit's new wedding skin has Ultimate VFX, which plays wedding music and changes his playing cards to look really cool?
Gambit never falls! Remy LeBou! My waterfall!
Did you know that Gambit's new wedding skin has Ultimate
active and dive the enemy backline altogether with characters like Captain Venom 2, since he's so mobile and self-sufficient. So, you know, running with like a Psylocke on an off angle with Gambit is extremely impressive and can carry games standalone. In terms of supports, in the VODs we'll look at this, but he can be played in both 2 support comps as well as 3 support comps. In 2 supports, he plays to heal the team a little bit more, but with 3 supports, he can fully utilize his damage and mobility to keep the team healthy while also posing a serious threat to the enemy backline. How to play Gambit from game to game comes down to what you have and what the enemies have, and enabling your team while countering theirs. His flexibility is insane and why this character is so strong. Now that we understand Gambit and his kits, as well as where he is applicable, let's take a look at a couple of VODs to get an even better understanding of his kits. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to be watching a very, very strong VOD today. A lot of different VODs. We actually might do more than 3 this time. Usually we only do 3, but we've got a lot to look at for just Gambit in general. So we're going to be looking at 2 different versions of Gambit. One version of Gambit is like the Scrim Gambit, where we're going to be seeing a triple tank, triple support composition that I've seen from Nemesis here. I don't know who Forky Dog is. It's one of their supports, I'm assuming, on an alt account. And we're also going to look at then a ranked version of the Gambit after this with 2-2-2 going on and seeing how Gambit works in just like one of your normal games. But there's a big difference between triple support and just 2 support Gambit and how you play it. The triple support Gambit, before we'll actually watch here, the action starts almost immediately. The triple support Gambit really comes down to Gambit being able to throw a lot more of those anti-nade cards and being a lot more aggressive, whereas the duo support, we're going to see how he kind of plays out of that. The big thing is just realizing how you're going to be playing with this composition. So we're going to be playing very brawl-centric, but again, we don't really need a lot of healing. We have Loki, we have Jeff the Shark. The healing isn't really going to be an issue. Instead, we're going to be trying to set up picks with the rest of our team, almost like we're kind of playing like a Zenyatta, where like we're being a lot more aggressive and trying to get a lot more damage in. So we're going to see that right away. Immediately, already in the damage card form, right before this portal goes down, so that we can immediately start getting another cooldown on our card charges. We're going to take this very slow, because this character is very complicated. We immediately leave this TP, and again, we're just gonna right-click and anti the team. I
Gonna have to play X-Men and Tief if I want to win this one.
Fools!
30 seconds before you attack.
You can stop
Get
my
ready.
grand scheme?
You and me, Spectre, we're 2 of a kind.
I'm not nearly as heartless as you, Castle.
That's not
Asgard has been invaded
because
yet
we both
again.
know there are some problems that can only be solved by force.
Shall prevail.
Days like this,
The battle starts in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
You can't have
Get that vehicle to its destination.
Glad I brought along an extra deck of comms. Now you do the same for me, we. That's the boost I need. Nobody's stealing Gambit's chance to win.
Better check it up a gear. On your toes. Here they come.
Double down!
The wounds are gone. Thanks.
Not gonna be easy to hurt you.
Leave them to Gambit never fall!
You're halfway there. Keep going.
We're gonna... You thought you got rid of me? Pas de chance. Assemble! Hope I make the cut! Feeling fantastic. Help with hand. Feeling discovered.
I'm good to go.
Double down!
Get that vehicle moving again.
Do the same for me, Wee.
Problem solved.
Now you do the same for me, Wee.
This realm depends on our success.
Leave them to Khonshu!
Now you do the same for me, Wee.
Only 60 seconds left.
Ooh, found me someone to fight.
So long, Jordan.
I choose you! Never fall!
Straight. Thanks.
Disappear! Down to 30 seconds. Anyone willing to help?
Ain't nobody stealing Gambit's chance to win.
Get that vehicle moving again! With you! Well, you can't expect to win them all. You'll need a top-notch team to win this one.
Make way for the King of Thieves. Gonna have to play X-Men and Thief if I want to win
30
this.
seconds before you attack. Get ready.
I hope you rested up on your honeymoon, Remy. Because now it's time for business.
Rest, maybe no. But I sure am feeling relaxed and refreshed.
Then go ahead and deal yourself in, Cajun. The more cards, the better.
Gambit don't need a full hand to win, Fee.
The battle starts in
Well-timed
5,
ace is all it
4, 3, 2, 1. You have to stop them from securing the mission area.
Piece of cake.
Oh, vampires everywhere. Ah, and I forgot my wooden stakes at home.
Win they draw.
That put a spring in my step?
They hitting real hard.
I'm not done.
Double KO!
You thought you got rid of me? Pas de chance.
Be right back.
Thanks for the love, love. Feeling stronger already. There you are, you cheeky.
They hitting real hard. Maybe a point. Ooh, wait. That hit the spot.
I underestimated you, Liana. Just in time. Thanks.
Jump off with them.
Can't keep this caging down for long.
Be right back.
You need to stop that vehicle in its tracks. The perfect hit!
Double up. I can use a hand and maybe a foot. Not that. You feel animal ring. They're gonna pay for this shit. Gambit never fall. Gambit got your back. Unlucky.
He stopped them in their tracks. Double KO!
Ain't nobody stealing Gambit's chance to win.
Stay away from me. The
No
monster
symbol
hunter,
of
mate.
Khonshu can resist Doctor Strange. Good medicine. A helping hand. Beware, behind you. Shut up.
Kill that hurt. That's the boost I need. Can't keep this caging down for long.
Who dares summon the Queen of Hell?
Better stop that vehicle! They've made it halfway! Stop them!
Dinner time, love!
My waterfall. Lucky draw.
Enemies, perfect.
Not now, not ever.
That poor would be dead. Oh yeah, baby, that's the good stuff. Someone's messing with my head.
Why didn't I even get a notification?
Help! I'm hurting pretty bad over here. And just like that, I...
There
Ain't nobody stealing Gambit's chance to win.
I guess we have Hana tank.
Straight to your soul. He stopped them in their tracks.
What you say? Very funny.
Hostiles coming in fast.
They're hitting real hard. You know you had that. Now you do the same for me, Wee.
He stopped them in their tracks. Survive.
And just like that, I believe in that. Oh, that's what I'm talking about. My healing factor can't keep up. Could use one of these. A helping hand. Oh, yeah, baby. That's never full. Goddamn beautiful, baby. Damn, it got me.
Another off destroyed.
A helping hand. Ooh, found me someone to fight.
A feast for my crows. Never mess with a bloodstone.
Yes, the hunter got hunted.
Disappear!
Kill that hunter. That's a boost I need. Damn, we heal. Lucky draw.
60 seconds left.
Healing factor can't keep up.
He stopped them in their tracks.
Healing. Why would I need healing?
Now you do this waterfall. Still Remy? I enjoyed that way too much.
Thanks for the love.
Down to 30 seconds.
Diablo's hungry. Our defense is strong. Hold a little longer. They're sneaking into the heart.
The moon haunts you!
Could use one of these.
The final 10 seconds.
Down, Gunther! Accuracy presenting!
Another epic victory. Sing. You'll need a top team to win this one.
Make way for the King of Thieves. This is almost as fun as pulling a heist.
No one can
Almost.
stop us. We are rebels till the end of time.
30 seconds before you attack. Get ready.
Madcap antics. But I've got a serious
Would you have a problem with me I should know about, Emma?
The battle starts in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All you need to do is capture the mission area. Got it?
I can sense that Sholao's mystical aura is in flux. This could be bad.
Enemies on approach.
Oh yeah, baby, that's the good stuff. That pay hit real hard.
I feel like myself again.
Just the boost I need.
There's one on more.
Clean up the forest, Mr. Spectre.
Gambit got your back.
What am I? Invisible?
Can't keep
Help
this
get
cage
that
down.
vehicle to its destination.
Better.
Ooh-wee, that hit the spot. Oh yeah, baby, you was out of your league.
Looks like we've got ourselves a party.
All systems go. What do I hit next? I'm taking the
Feeling stronger already.
Got me good. Sholau wants this on tap. Let's see. Just the boost I need. Oh yeah, baby, that's the good. Look out, Spectre left something behind. Gambit got your back. Unlucky.
I don't think that's the welcoming committee.
Gambit never falls! My waterfall.
Over there. Sculpture back out.
Gambit got your back.
Vehicle reached a checkpoint. Keep up the momentum.
Vengeance is served.
Double KO.
Ain't nobody stealing Gambit's chance to win.
Maximum pulse. Maximum pulse. Nobody can hang with the.
Double KO.
Bon temps brûlé.
Moon Knight has set a trap.
out of that shit.
Get that vehicle moving again!
Longer in control.
Followed me up.
What are you aiming at? For more.
Basically just ran out here and died.
One less off to worry about.
Get that vehicle moving again!
Magneto showed the kids how it's done. Iron Fist?
Christ.
That should be sufficient.
Gambit got special toy. Gambit never falls! You can't handle the juice.
Don't let anything stand in your way!
You know you had that coming. Against Khonshu, eh? I'll pass. Now you do the same for me, we. The move!
Big chance!
Friday got that on video.
I am much better now.
Here they are now.
Catch it up. Interesting.
1,000 gods! Troubled day, Sorrows.
Got Magneto? Oh yeah, baby, that's the good stuff. Laissez le bon temps brûler. Bet that dragon's getting
Get that
mighty
vehicle
angry.
moving again!
Yeah, huh?
One of Moon Knight's hunks, I presume. Ah, much better.
Mon Dieu, that hurt. Lucky draw. Gambit never falls! Pulse charge, fire! Gambit got what are you aiming at? Magneto!
Huh.